Thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day for the Child Safety Seminar of Kodiak Bible Chapel. I'm Heather Foxworthy, the Director of Children's Ministries. Well, each individual working with children at Kodiak Bible Chapel is required to review our safety policies once a year, regardless of how many times you've been working here. You are responsible for the information found on the downloadable forms online, regardless of if the information is covered in this presentation or not. Volunteers also need to complete the presentation of this with the audio, as I do include stuff that is not in the slides. After reviewing this presentation, please download and print the acknowledgement forms, read them completely, sign them, and return them to the office. If you don't have a printer, that's okay. We have copies of those here in the office for you. So why do we do safety training? Well, for one, it keeps our children safe. Sometimes we just need a refresher course of what is appropriate behavior and actions with children. Also, you are a volunteer and we value that. So we want to make sure that you are also in a safe situation. Thirdly, safety is the basis for what I call the GROWLS. That's not original. I got that from somebody else. But GROWLS stands for grace, relationship, ownership, worth, laughter, and safety. If an individual receives those 6 things, they will be committed to that organization or church or family forever. This is what people need, not just children, but adults as well, to have a feeling of belonging. These are very essential needs. And safety is the basis for that. If someone does not feel safe emotionally or physically, and in this case, even spiritually, nothing else we do is going to matter. We're going to go over just a couple real basic, simple rules, and if there is any questions at the end of this, please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a phone call, and I can answer any questions you have. First, let's talk about age restrictions. These age restrictions are firm. Junior high is considered 7th and 8th grade. High school obviously is 9th through 12th. An adult is considered anyone 18 or older. These are firm. That's just a nice line we have. Even if you want to say your 6th grader is really mature or your 8th grader was held back 2 years, we are sticking with a definable 7th and 8th grade, high school, and adult definitions here. 2 people are required for both nursery and 2- and 3-year-old classes. One of those people must be an adult. A high schooler can be the helper, but junior high is not allowed in. For 2s and 3s, obviously we need 1 adult and then 1 helper. That can also be a high school student or a junior high student. And then with our kids 4 years old and up, any adult and any high schooler can work in those classes, and we do ask that the junior high students get permission first because there are certain age groups they work with better than others. And when we say that 2 people are preferred in the 4-year-olds and up, we do know that there are some situations where you might not need to, or it's a smaller group. We are flexible with that, but please ask yourself, what would happen if I had to step out of the room for a moment? Obviously with 2s and 3s, if that 1 adult steps out of the room, chaos ensues. So that's not necessarily the case with 5th and 6th graders. They can handle themselves for a few minutes. So just kind of keep that in mind as a rule of thumb. And of course, if there's any questions with that, stop by the office. Except for in the nursery, a volunteer can have his or her own child in with them. Mother's Day, you want your child to hang out with you. That's great. But that is not applicable to the nursery, and that under 8th grader child does not count as a helper. Individuals with a criminal sexual offense conviction or on the Alaska State Sex Offender List or any other state sex offender registry are never allowed to work with children at Kodiak Bible Chapel. That's even if your conviction is long enough ago that you are no longer on the state's sex offender registry. Neither are those individuals allowed on the first floor of the building. That's the level with the kitchen and the bathrooms and the nursery. You're not allowed on that floor for any reason. Criminal background checks are required for anybody overnighting with a minor. That could be a youth walk-in, missions trip, a a trip someplace, a girls' night out, any of those people must have a criminal background check. Those forms are available in the office, and I'll take care of that with you. There are 3 keys or 3 general sections to child safety. Most everything falls into 3 categories. The first one is just use common sense. Common sense can be things like men don't go into the girls' bathroom and women need to give boys as much privacy as possible. Once a child is 4, they should be able to use the bathroom unattended. Don't give kids a ride in a car with no other adult or no other child in there. Men, don't give little girls a ride home. Don't lock your classroom door. Don't cover the windows. That tells people you're trying to hide something. Leave your classroom open and accessible. Know your group's fire alarm procedure. MOPS has their own. Awana has their own. Take a look around. See where your nearest exit is. Just think and plan ahead. So if that does happen, you're not having to think on the fly. One thing is necessary is don't give children medicine. If a parent says, here, my child needs penicillin at 7 o'clock, say, great. I will have your child up at the stairs waiting by the door for you. Just as a safety precaution, we don't dispense medicine. Don't use fear as a classroom discipline technique. When we use fear as a way to control children, we are not showing them grace. We are not helping them grow in a relationship. We're also kind of giving the message that, God's out to get them if they mess up. And that's the last thing we want to show. We want to show grace and mercy to our children as much as possible. And, if you have a child in that class, sometimes it's easy to reach over and discipline your own child, thinking, well, if they see me, whack my child, then everybody else is going to straighten up. Well, that's also disciplining in fear. People in the hallway, people passing may not understand that that's your child. They are still going to respond to you out of fear. So please don't do that. And of course, use appropriate positive touch. A person needs 8 to 10 meaningful touches a day, research has shown, to be healthy. And we want to help provide that, but we want to do it in an appropriate way. This is why I wish this was video and not a PowerPoint so I could show you. But the top of somebody's head, the middle of their back, the top of their shoulder is okay places to put your hand. We want to stay away from the genitals. We want to stay away from whapping somebody on the rear. And please no front to front big hug contacts. If you're a man and you're kind of tall, most kids are going to hit you in the groin level. So you're going to have to figure out other ways that you can give appropriate touches to those around you. One of my favorites is a side one-armed hug. You turn your body into the child that's running at you. You put your arm around their shoulder, give them a quick squeeze and say, oh, I'm so glad to see you. And then you let go and step back instead of the child hanging on you. High fives are great. Make up your own secret handshake, something like that, where you are avoiding constant touching that could be considered inappropriate. That also includes no tickling. Please don't purposely tickle the kids. So what happens if you can't figure it out using common sense? Well, then you need to just ask. Ask the other adult in with you. They might know the kids better than you or know the parents. Ask the parents. Ask the parents, do they have any allergies? Does the child have problems with separation? Is there anything I should know about your child? Ask who's going to be picking them up. Ask what their favorite color is. These things are going to help you keep a safe classroom environment. Also, ask the office staff. And then, of course, ask for help. We want to make sure that volunteering with our children is also a positive experience for you. If you are feeling overwhelmed, if you're being put in situations you're not comfortable with, if you're being asked things that you don't know how to deal with, please ask for help, whether that's your Sunday school director or your Awana leader or whoever you can report to. Ask us for help, and that's what we're here for. We want to make sure that you are feeling safe and in control as well. Third key to safety is communication. Communicate first with the staff. If you're going to be holding something off campus, we need to know that. You need to have permission before you do something outside of your normal routine. If you are doing something outside of your normal routine but on church property, please clear that through the office as well. The building is used most days of the week by various organizations, and we want to make sure that there's no conflict or surprises with one group showing up at a time when it's already being used. We're not a big fan of surprises. If something happens, just let us know. We'd much rather hear from you that there was an issue with your kids today than to hear from a parent later on when we might not be getting both sides of the story. That includes accidents. If an accident occurs when you're in charge, that's okay. That happens. That actually happens more than most people realize. We are dealing with children and with the public, and accidents happen. If that does, please call the office as soon as possible or shoot me an email. All that information's at the end of this presentation, telling me what happened, who was there, what the extent of it was. You called the parents, and then I will go ahead and follow up with the individuals later. The church does have insurance, so please don't let medical costs keep somebody from reporting an accident or seeking treatment if they need it. But like I said, we do like knowing about it, so when a parent comes to us, we're able to say, yes, we know about it. We're taking care of that. Also communicate with the parents. The parents want to know what's going on, and the more communication that you have with them, parents will feel more comfortable with you interacting with their children. And then communicate with the volunteers around you. Tell them, hey, I'm stepping out to take a child to the bathroom, or we don't have enough seat belts. Can you take a couple more kids? Your volunteers around you are a valuable resource, and they're going to work better with you when you are communicating with them. And I'd like to go back and reemphasize communicating with parents. Parents are our friends. We partner with parents. We don't do their job as ministers. We partner along with them, and we help them. So I want to make sure that everything we do, we include parents and support parents as they take on the job of showing children how to live a godly life. And that brings us to the topic of social media. Social media is a wonderful tool, and I hope you are using it. Email, Facebook, Twitter, instant messaging, Instagram. These are tools, but just like any tool, we want to make sure the tool doesn't hurt anybody when it's being used. So I want you to remember a couple of things. One is some parents don't want their children online or in print. In fact, Awana registration forms now have a spot where a parent can check the box, do not use my child in print or electronic media. And we want to respect those things. So make sure that you are not singling children out on Facebook and sites like that without parental permission. Also, most social media sites require someone to be 13. So if you're getting friend requests from a 10-year-old, that child has already lied and checked the box saying they're 13. Personally, I don't accept friend requests from minors just because I can't guarantee what somebody's going to post on my accounts before I have a chance to look at it, and I don't want to expose your child to those things. That's just my personal opinion. You may have a different opinion. I'm just asking you to use wisdom and some caution. Also, small children don't understand sarcasm and inside jokes. They can't see your face or hear the tone of your voice, so they might not know that you're just kidding or that you're trying to make a joke. They may take you literally and become very offended. Also, we're in a day and age where things spread like wildfire. You make one comment, you think you're being funny, and now it's everywhere. And just like the spoken word, you can't pull it back. So we just want to make sure that when you are online or on your cell phone with kids, that you stop and think before you say or write anything. Thanks for giving us 15 minutes of your day. We really do appreciate it. If you have any specific questions or something you're not clear about, please give us a call, shoot us an email, contact us through the website, whatever you're most comfortable with. Anybody here on staff would be happy to help you. Sometimes when you're dealing with older kids, high schoolers, we get in some gray areas, something more specific, please make sure you contact me and I'm happy to go over those with you. Don't forget to print off the forms, read them, sign them, return them to the office. And if you don't have access to the printer, we have some here in the office for you. Thanks a lot, guys.